Hello, everybody. It's Dave for our weekly chat, I guess you would say. And I'm going to talk about Afghanistan a little bit today because it's a very sad and heartbreaking thing. And I have to, I remember when we first went into Afghanistan and I thought, wow, this is a tremendously bad idea. The Russians have been here, gave up and left, and before them the English went there and then gave up and left. So that's why I didn't really think it was a good idea. I understand why they did it. Um, and then a little bit on the current history. Um, right now, part of the problem with the withdrawal is that President Trump started the withdrawal, but he had the end of the withdrawal after the election. So essentially, Biden doesn't have a choice. This is already an agreement. And in a way, it's that do we pull the bandage off quickly or slowly? And obviously, the Taliban is not going to give us the opportunity to pull the band-aid off slowly. But we knew it was going to be ugly before we ever left. We knew horrible things were going to happen. Now, I'm not trying to mitigate this, but for the most part, we didn't really win hearts and minds. So you have mostly the intelligentsia now that are trying to leave Afghanistan because they're the ones that are going to suffer the most. Obviously, especially the women, they don't want to have their rights taken away. But that's the problem. We only took the cities. The hinterland, we never, I said hearts and minds before, but we never got anywhere near converting them. Because outside of the cities, the Taliban ruled. There were no schools for girls. Heck, under the Taliban, there aren't many schools for boys. They're just not into education. But you've got to remember, when you grow up in a world where you'll have to leave your family and they'll never talk to you again, you will burn in hell forever because these are religious zealots. So they believe and they teach everybody that in Islam, they're going to burn in hell if they don't wear burqas and submit to the will of Allah and all of those kind of things. So while it's scary for the women who are modernized, the rank and file daily women have been oppressed forever, and there's no real change for them. And I kind of feel bad about that we really couldn't. I mean, even the government we set up for them, the president that they put in place was so pro-American, it was ridiculous. How do you win hearts and minds by placing the invader in charge? So, the Taliban, while they're not, a legitimate government either, the Afghanis don't really have a government that they believe in and that they want to support. And we just don't understand them culturally. Nobody does. And that's what I'm trying to say. We didn't win hearts and minds because that's what they believe. They've kind of always been sympathetic to the Taliban. That's why an outside group had to step in because we think what they're doing is terrible. I'm not saying what they're doing isn't terrible, but we have a different lens than the people who live there, and we've never understood that. And that's why we could never change them psychologically to, kind of fend for themselves. Now, I will tell you that at this point in time, it looks like the Afghan army has mounted resistance in the north and has taken some territory back from the Taliban now that they're organized. So that's a really good sign. Now, unfortunately, at this point, none of it's been confirmed. It's stuff that I've seen on the internet, but they're not really talking about it on the news stations yet because they too are waiting to find out if this is really true. And if it is, it's something good because that's what we needed to do. We needed to get the Afghans to fight the Taliban, not us. So let's pray what I'm hearing is really true. And let's pray that they get as many people as they can on those planes before the date is over. And, they're moving like a couple thousand people a day out of there. So I'm hoping that these, obviously we're not going to be able to evacuate everybody. But as time goes on and more people arrive at the airport, we're seeing the big rush now. There's not going to be people from the hinterlands that are making their way to the airport. It's going to be people from Kabul. And so pray for them. They're pretty frightened about what's going on over there, and as you can imagine, they should be. But also remember, culturally, for the great majority of these people, nothing has changed. The Taliban has always been in control. They may not have had any political power, but they influenced the area that they lived in. All right, I'm glad you're tuning in, and I'll see you next week with another one of my little, I don't know, speeches. Have a great day.